What's up, people? It's your boy Puerto'S 77 coming back at you with another Puerto'S Point Live. How's everybody doing on this beautiful weekend? Well, it's not so beautiful where I'm at. It's raining. It's raining a lot out here. Let me make sure my mic quality sounds good up in here. Hopefully we can hear. Are we hearing me? I don't know. Things may not be so good. Everybody can hear me? Oh man, I'm having mic issues. Does everybody hear me in the chat? Are we popping? I don't think I'm hearing anything. Let me make sure. We're listening. Are we hearing me? Oh, sounds good. Okay. I don't know. Something's going wrong with my setup. I apologize for the inconvenience. Maybe it's the settings or something. I'm gonna just have to fix this stuff real soon. Anyway. But anyway, I appreciate you guys signing up for me. All right, so we're gonna go on with stuff like that. Hey, if you're new listening, please subscribe, like, so we could get this nice little broadcast live and direct. So so we could hit it up. First, I want to start off with something real quick that I saw on Twitter. What's up, everybody? What's up, Ruham, Roof, Ryan, Pro Productions. Texas Lean, thank you so much. Halo Storm, appreciate you showing up. EJ Johnson, appreciate it. 6996, Garuda, everybody in the chat, and people who continue to show up. We already got a couple of people watching now. Let the room fill up a little bit before I get to my main point. But we're gonna hit up Twitter. I guess a little. How would you say? A little issue came along. I guess some deer hunting game. I don't even know. It's not even really popular. But apparently, they're not making any improvements whatsoever on the Xbox One X. Somebody asked about, the game itself, and they announced that it's going to be, like 1080p or something on the regular PlayStation and like 1280p or 1440p or so. It's going to be enhanced on the Pro. And then when a member of Twitter asked what would the One X version be, it's going to be the same. Pretty much the same version as the base Xbox model, which is 900p, 30 frames, whatever. And that upset a lot of people because there's no Xbox One X enhancement at all. So of course everybody's gonna boycott the game and stuff like that. So to that scenario, let me just help you guys out. Don't take that. Don't go all crazy on every single game not getting One X enhanced. I'm telling you, you're gonna drive yourself nuts. You're gonna end up in the loony bin if you did that. All right. Some developers throughout all console generations never take advantage of the most powerful console. That's actually normal. All right. I'll give you a perfect example. That was pretty much for the most part what the PS3 went through pretty much most of last gen. Believe it or not. All right. The hardware that the PS3 had was more advanced than what the 360 had. The Soul processor was a much more powerful CPU. The GPU, I think, was a little bit stronger on the Xbox 360. And then as far as the RAM, PlayStation used two types of RAM. One of them was, what is it? I think it was called XD RAM or something. I forgot the name of the RAM, but it was much faster RAM than what was in the 360. The problem was the 360 was a simpler design. And also, for a while, it was the console leader. It was selling better, much better than the PS3. To take advantage of the PS3's architecture, they had to put in the time and money to do it. And a lot of developers wasn't going to do it. They weren't going to put in the time to make the PS3 version better, right? Especially for such a low user base, all right? So how does this apply to Xbox One X? Well, the One X is going to have a low user base. The majority of the gamers are Xbox base model players. So some developers, especially when it comes to titles like these hunting deer games and low developing games, they're probably not going to put much effort in the One X at all. They're just going to do a straight port from the game they built on the base model Xbox One and just port it straight over to the One X with little to no enhancements at all. The game's not that big. It's not a huge thing, right? So people saying that since it doesn't have One X enhancement, they're not going to buy it. chances are they're not going to buy it. So Show W is actually what I'm talking about, homie. That's an irrelevant game that's not going to have enhancements at all. It's an irrelevant game. Very low selling game. These type of games, you're probably not going to see enhancements. They're just not. You know, call it funding, call it laziness, call it what you want. The point what I'm trying to say is don't get your pennies all up in a bunch over these games, because this is not going to be the only, you know, low-key game that's not going to do 1x enhancements. That's just the nature of the business. Some people are just going to be lazy and do straight ports from the base model Xbox One S right over to the 1X. People asking what game? It's some deer hunting game. I can't even tell you what the game is. I'm like, I just saw, you know, specifically it's called, I'll look at it right now. Give me a second. It's called The Headhunter Call of the Wild, and it's available October 2nd. And I don't even know who the developer, I don't even know who makes this damn game. I mean, like, seriously, you know. But the game is attracting a whole bunch of tweets. I think last time I saw, how many tweets I had, or how many replies? I already saw like 50 replies, you know, of people already boycotting the game. And I'm like, most people ain't going to buy this trash. Point I'm trying to say is you're going to have some low-key games like this where, because it's so low-key and it's so low, most developers are not going to put in the effort in the 1X. It's just a reality. All right, so relax. It happens every generation. A lot of developers don't take advantage of hardware, you know, and that's just it. But it's just go crazy and stuff like that. But anyway, let's go. 2 topics I want to cover, but I'm going to talk about the main topic right now. Is amazingly all Sony marketed games so far aren't good. I'm just noticing a trend here. Now, of course, I'm going to put on my little tinfoil hat, you know, and I'm going to say something now, and we'll see how this turn out. All right? We're just going to see how this turn out. But so far, I'm going to say some people don't like Destiny 2. And obviously with the Call of Duty beta, I noticed some of the same people, you know, and I'm not going to call no names. I don't want to put nobody out there. Don't like Call of Duty World War II. Okay. So I have a prediction. I'm going to predict those same people will not like Battlefront 2. All right. I'm gonna call it like that. My man Hailstorm says, I don't know if they can optimize the game for the Pro. They can do it for the X. You shouldn't support devs that take sides like that. Here's the thing. The dev is irrelevant. That's the point I'm trying to say. Even if they did support the X or whatever, it's a damn deer hunting game. Nobody gives a damn. I don't think anybody even cares about the game. I think more people just care about the Xbox One X than the game itself. Nobody cares about a deer hunting game. Like who? When was the last time we even talked about a deer hunting game? That's a very niche game. More people play Persona 5 than deer hunting games. It's just an irrelevant topic. You know, it's just an irrelevant. It's just if you guys are gonna spend, what's going on, Luca? What's up, girl? Here's my question. If you guys are gonna, let me put it this way. If you guys are gonna headhunt every single title, I think you're gonna be spending more time headhunting titles than you are playing games. Do you know how many games of headhunting quality? Not headhunting, but just how can I put it? What would be a good word to use? You know, the trash games, freaking, you know, throwaway trash games. You know, for every one good game, there's like 50 trash games on the shelf. You know, games like headhunting and just, you know, just dumb games that nobody really pays attention to. You know, there's a lot of games we don't pay attention to. You know, I mean, look at the PS2. The PS2 has over like 30,000 titles. And most people probably played 100 or 150, which is the most quality. Is that there's just a whole. Thank you so much, Luca. You're my homie. Oh, I'm gonna hit you up on the DM later on something. But every console has so much trash that gets developed. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of trash that gets developed on every console. You know, throwaway titles, very cheap, low divert titles. You know, headhunting games. It's just titles we don't even know exist. That's on there. Very cash grabs. Let's just call them cash grabs or whatever. And the time to go through and headhunt every single of these titles just to make sure the 1X version is superior. You guys are going to be spending more time researching these games than you are playing games. I'm just telling you right now. It's going to drive you nuts. You guys are going to go inside the loony bit. Believe me, there's going to be a lot of trash titles that will get no enhancements. Games that you never heard of. You know, games that are really irrelevant that doesn't do anything. You know, you guys are going to have, you guys are going to drive yourself crazy if this is what you're going to do. If you're going to damage control every single title, my lord, you're not going to be playing games at all. There'll be no way you could say you're playing the 1X when you're busy headhunting every single title that's out there. I'm just saying, you know, don't worry about these irrelevant titles. You know, now if it was the bigger games, you know, worry about. Well, Halo Stone says the 1X should never have a worse version than the Pro. Well, technically, the Pro should never have a worse version than the PS4 vanilla. But we see those, don't we? Technically, the PS4 Pro is more powerful than the Xbox One base model. I mean, the PS4 vanilla is more powerful than the Xbox vanilla. But there was games where the Xbox vanilla had the better version. It's just how the game goes. You know, my point I'm saying is, if you're going to stress out with every single game, you're not going to be enjoying gaming. You're not going to enjoy gaming at all. You know, if you're going to spend the time headhunting every single game that doesn't get 1X advance, you're going to be spending more time doing that than actually playing a game. All right? Vendetta's saying I don't want Xbox to fail. I don't want Xbox to fail. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of things I want in life. Worrying about a console failing is not one of them. All right? Worrying about a console failing is not one of them. It does nothing for me, failing. Why do I care? In fact, 90% of the time, in my opinion, people who tell me that, you the guys are the ones that are involved in this console war to the point you want to see a console fail. A console failing does nothing for me. And keep in mind, I had and bought consoles that failed. It's not a good feeling. I owned a Saturn. Not a good feeling. I owned the Dreamcast. Not a great feeling. I own the TurboGrafx-16. Terrible feeling. So owning consoles that don't pan out and suck, horrible feeling. I had a Sega CD. Horrible feeling. So I know firsthand. Hell, I own the PSP. Horrible feeling. Seeing things fail. You know what I'm saying? You're preaching to the choir. I own consoles that didn't pan out too well. You know? It just sucks, right? In my opinion, I think you guys take this shit mad personal. You guys are mad personal. You know what's funny? The funny part is, look for a video. I don't say the Xbox console, you know, the console itself sucks. I don't say the game sucks. I really don't say that. You guys get mad because I criticize the company, which is because that's what's funny. Because most of my critiques and complaints is how the management is doing business, not so much the console itself. So you guys are actually getting pissed off because I'm criticizing guys in suits, which is pretty funny. You know what's real funny? This is what's real funny. You know, this is what's real funny. When I say, like, I don't talk about the console, the games themselves. I don't say Halo sucks. I don't say Gears of War sucks. I don't say any of that stuff. You say I really don't criticize the games or the console. You can look at my channel. I never criticize Xbox for being 720p. All right? And I'm probably one of the few PlayStation dudes that actually admit that Xbox One X is going to have the better version games because it's logical. Right? But what I find funny is when I say Xbox has the better online than PS4, right? Which I agree. Xbox, hell, since the start, always had the better online ecosystem. But when I say Xbox One has the better online infrastructure than the PlayStation 4, why don't you guys correct me and say, well, Puerto'S, you don't have an Xbox One X. How would you know? You guys don't pull that stunt then. When I say Xbox One has a better online, none of you come out and say, well, you don't have an Xbox One, so you can't really make that opinion. You guys are all with me on that one, which is pretty funny because I don't have an Xbox One, so technically I shouldn't be saying the Xbox One online is better than PS4, right? Technically, I shouldn't be saying that until I actually play online, right? Right? None of you correct me on that one. You guys are all good with that one. When I say that, oh man, you guys are all over. Okay? Yeah. Halo Storm, you're right. It does have a better online. But how would I know if I'm not playing on it? Notice how you guys don't correct me on that. Not even you. You never told me that, Halo. You never told me and put me in my place and say, well, Puerto'S, we appreciate you being honest, but until you play Xbox One, you can't say it has a better online. When you do, then you can have an opinion. You never told me that, right? Now, thank you, Halo Storm. If you speak the truth, we don't need to correct you. Now, yeah. No, what the point is, when I speak something you like to hear, you don't correct me. Thank you, Halo Storm, for helping me out. That's the point. The bottom line is, when there's something you don't like to hear, you want to pull caveats. But if it's something you do like to hear, now, hey, it's all good. No correction needed. That's the point. That's the whole issue here. It's all about whether you like to hear or not. That's really what comes down to it. Damn. No, that's what you said. If I say the truth, you don't have to correct me. The bottom line, what is the truth? I don't own an Xbox. So how do I know the online is better? How do I know? Right? Now we're cooking. You see, the truth comes out. But the funny part is, when it comes to Xbox, I don't say Halo 5 sucks. I don't say Gears of War sucks. I don't say the console sucks. I don't make videos saying, don't buy an Xbox. Hell, I never told anybody don't buy an Xbox One. I never said that. Never said that. Never said that at all. Those topics I don't come up, because to me those points doesn't mean anything. But there's a that constantly say PS4 sucks. That constantly say PS4 game sucks. Constantly bashing PS4 games. I don't do that. Now there's other PlayStation channels that do. You know what I'm saying? I don't roll with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all opinion based. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't really touch that subject. I stay away from that. My critiques on Xbox is the ones who are the most dangerous, which is the business suits. All right? Plain and simple. Those are the guys I critique. All right? That's it. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about. All right? So I notice certain gamers don't like Destiny 2. Certain gamers don't like Call of Duty 2. So I'm going to make a prediction and say we're going to see soon enough. I don't know if Battlefront 2 is going to have a beta, but if it does, I'm going to assume those same people are not going to like Battlefront 2. And I'm going to say why. It's because all those games are marketed towards Sony. I'm just going to put that out there. Some fanboys is that petty, in my opinion, which is pretty crazy. And that's a dangerous thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a dangerous thing. If you're the type of gamer, and this is specifically addressed to them, if you're the type of gamer that do not like these games simply because Sony's using them as an advantage to make their platform successful, then you guys are way too deep into the console war. And what I mean by way in too deep, understand this. I'm going to give you a perfect example. So last gen, Gabe Newell thrashed the PS3. Completely thrashed it. He tore it apart. All right? He tore it apart, saying that the console is garbage and that Sony just needs to do over. Don't even bother making games for it. It got a lot of PlayStation fans upset. The whole boycotting, the whole garbage. They did the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. Me, I was like, oh man, I saw it as a sign of PS3's in trouble. I didn't get personal or be personally mad at Gabe Newell. I just took it as, oh man, PS3, Sony really screwed up. This console might be in trouble because you got a major developer, a popular developer, who's calling it out. A few years later, he made the game Portal, right? Great game. I didn't boycott the game because he thrashed the PS3. He just gave his opinion as a developer. I didn't take it personal. He didn't attack me as a PlayStation gamer. He didn't insult me as a PlayStation gamer. He saw the product for what it was and gave his opinion. But at the end of the day, I still bought his game Portal, because it's an amazing game. All right? Okay? All right? The point I'm trying to say is, I get it. You guys support your platform. You love your platform. Enjoy your platform. All right? But don't, how can I say this? Don't let the enjoyment of your platform overtake the enjoyment of games. Because the whole point of the platforms is to play games. The games comes before the console themselves. Always. It's always about the games. All right? Always about the games first, then the console. All right? Don't let this whole thing, this is for some of you, if this doesn't apply to you in through one ear or out through the other, it does, if it doesn't fall in your basket, then don't worry about it. But if it does, if the fact that these games are being marketed by Sony, being bundled on PlayStation, don't let that add to your critique towards the game simply because it's impacting Xbox or whatever. Don't do that. If you like the game, like the game. Doesn't matter if it's being marketed by Sony. It's on Xbox, play it, enjoy it. If you legitimately don't like it, then okay. Legitimately don't like it. I'm not saying you have to like it. If you legitimately don't like the game, then legitimately don't like the game. Right? But if you have something against the game simply because it's marketed by Sony for the PlayStation platform, don't worry about that. All right? Sure, we all could pop out trash talking on Twitter, on YouTube, in the comment section, and that's all part of interacting with the community. But once you log off for Twitter, once you log off for YouTube, keep it gaming to your platform. You know what I mean? Don't do too much outside of social media. Don't do too much out of social media. All right? But that's going to be my prediction. It's going to be interesting to see the reaction of Battlefront 2. I'm interested to see how that pans out. I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out. All right? So now one final thing. I'm going to go back. November. I know more and more Xbox channels are talking about November. All right? It's becoming, I think me and Zaire started a war. It's pretty funny. I didn't think a simple bet would gain this much traction between me and Next Gen. Next Gen's the Don King of this. He knows how to bring the entertainment. I didn't think it was gonna blow up to this. Now everybody's putting their 2 cents on November MPD, which is pretty funny. Everybody wants in on this battle. Everybody's putting their 2 cents in this, which is pretty funny. It's pretty cool, but it's pretty funny how this grew into something. November, everybody, let me tell you something. There's 2 expectations for November. Okay? There's 2 expectations. Number 1 is the release of the One X, and right behind it is MPD results. It's hilarious that the result of MPD is just as big as the release of a new console. Because of a little spark that Next Gen and I started, it now is becoming a roaring fire. It's pretty funny. Because I'm seeing more and more videos talking about the PlayStation is going to win November or the One X, Xbox is going to win November. All right. Okay. All right. Here's going to be a couple of things. All right. Just to make my point so we could see a clear picture. All right. Number 1. All right. Number 1. We're gonna dismiss a couple of things. All right. We're going to talk about a couple of things. All right. People think PlayStation won November last year because of the Pro. And that's not true at all. Right? Right? That's not true at all. PlayStation won November because of the Slim model. All right? So let me help you out here. Okay? Let me help you out here. All right? Let me help you guys out here. Let me look for something. All right? Let me look on the notifications because that's all, it's something you guys don't understand. When I told people, and I said this on the multiplayer podcast, that the Slim Uncharted bundle was what won it. A lot of people really don't understand how big that bundle was, right? Now, luckily, one of my subscribers and followers on YouTube pulled up the article, all right? So I'm gonna show y'all something so I can see it. And I'm gonna screen share it so you can see how big that one bundle was. I'm gonna show you how big, all right? So you can see it for yourself. Give me a second. I should have had this prepared. I apologize for this, but there's gonna be a couple of points y'all need to see. All right, you need to see the big picture. You know, all right. That's the reason why I took the bet with Zaire, right? Because Zaire's point, he only thinks that because it's new hardware, they're gonna win NPD. He's not seeing everything. He only sees the 1X. That's all. He's tunnel visioned with just that one console, and that one console is supposed to be gonna do it all. That's his thing. All right. Because of new hardware, everybody's gonna go out and buy it. But he's not factoring in nothing else. Okay, so let me show you something. Let me piece this together for you guys. Bit by bit, we're gonna take it slow. We're gonna paint the picture. And here we go. Where is it? I just had the damn thing. Damn it. All right, let me see. Damn it. I just had the article. Let me see. Let me see. I'll try this Slim bundle 30%. Let me see if I could pull this up. All right, found it. Okay, got it. I found the article. Got it. All right, I got the article. All right, let me show you something. All right, to make my first point. All right, apologize, I'm taking too long. All right, now I'm going to share my screen. All right, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We're gonna share this screen. Share the screen already. Damn. Anyway, 82 viewers. Thank you so much. Yo, no, you guys are awesome, bro. I'm gonna tell you, you guys are awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. All right. Sony. All right. So first step. Here we go. Uncharted 4 PS3 and Slim bundle accounted for 30% of all hardware sales in November. All right. Right here. Okay. All hardware sales. All right. I want you to pay attention. Now notice what it said. Uncharted 4 PS4 Slim bundle accounted for 30% of all hardware sales in November. Now, it's not all PlayStation hardware sales. It's all hardware sales in its entirety. That means you're talking PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vanilla, Xbox One S, Xbox One Vanilla, right? And Wii U, and the handhelds, because NPD tracks all hardware. All right. Now the VR is not included because it's not. It's considered peripheral, so it wouldn't be part of those numbers. You know, because the PlayStation VR would be similar to what they would consider, let's say, like the the Elite controller for Xbox One X. So it's considered peripheral, so it wouldn't fall in NPD and hardware. They're talking about base items. The 3DS, the Wii U, Xbox One S, Xbox One Vanilla, PlayStation 4 Slim, PlayStation 4 Pro, right? All gaming hardware that was sold in that month, pretty much 1/3 was just simply this one console. Think about that. Every single hardware that was sold in November, and 1/3 of the people went and bought this. This is what won November. It wasn't the Pro. Pro was insignificant. It was really insignificant. It was really low numbers, all right? This was the system, the bundle that people went. All right. So right here, Sony and PS4 had a big month in November, winning the month in console hardware, and this can be thanked for the huge sales of the Uncharted 4 Slim bundle, which was 30% of all hardware sales in November 2016, way up from 17% of hardware sales in October 2016. All right. That right there is what won NPD for Sony in November. That right there wasn't the Pro. Pro. I say this time and time again, and I'm going to say it again. The Pro doesn't sell that much. It's not a big seller. All right, it's a niche seller for those who want it. Majority of people going out there getting Slims. All right, And people could say, well, the reason why people are getting out there, let's go with point number 2. All right. Some people are saying the reason why people are buying Slims is because the Pro, you can't tell the difference. That's really what's saying. Now, I'm not going to argue you could tell the difference between the Pro and the Slim. I'm not going to argue that because I don't have the Pro. I'm not going to argue that you can tell the difference. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all. All right? I'm not going to argue the merits of the Pro or the Slim. Okay? I'm not going to argue that merit. What I would like to say is this, though. If it was truly about the power, right, and people want the most powerful console, then why even bother buying the PS4 Slim in the first place? Why are people going out buying the Slim for then? You see what I'm saying? That's point number 2. Sure, the Pro, let's assume you don't see a difference between the Pro and the Slim. Cool. Then why bother buying the Slim at all then? Why not just wait for the 1X? Okay? Pony Rock, you said it was 50% of sales in November. Who said it was 50% of sales in November? So who said why it was 50% of sales in November? The Pro? Are you bugging? I hope you didn't say Pro was 50%. I never said that. See, this is the problem with you Xbox dudes. You like to lie and make stuff up. This is why you guys get clowned so much. This is why even Nintendo people clown Xbox community, because you got dudes like you who just lie and make up stuff. You guys need to stop that. At the end of the day, you're killing your own community. You're representing Xbox, unless you're like a Sony dude who's an insider, which is pretty messed up. If you guys are doing double agent crap, but you guys love to make up stuff. If people who follow my channel for the longest, I'm probably one of the few PlayStation dudes that consistently say the Pro is not selling good. I'm the one who said that from the start. I consistently say the Pro's not selling good. It's not a very good seller. In fact, I in my personal thing, outside from people who are enjoying it for whatever reason they are, I think the Pro is a waste of time. For me, I think the Slim just upgraded a little bit more to do 1080p at ultra settings would have been better than selling what the Pro is now. That's just my opinion. But anyway, moving on to that. If people aren't happy with the Pro, why are they settling with the Slim if they're looking for power? Especially now that the 1X has been announced. They would just wait for the 1X and not even bother with the Slim. They wouldn't even bother with PlayStation, period. Yet, PlayStation 4 sales have not dropped. In fact, they're going up. It's the Xbox One S sales that have dropped. This brings to my point number 3. In order to win November, you need Xbox One S sales. You need the base model console to sell. The 1X will not make up the difference between lower 1S sales. Now, people are probably asking me, why will the base model Xbox sell less as compared to last year? Why? Right? Why would it be worse this year than last year? Right? Okay. All right. Casual Hands asks a question. The PS4 vanilla is on par with the Pro, so why buy it? The Xbox One X is on par with no console, though. Okay. Is on par. Listen, I'm not sure if it's on par or not, but my point is this. If you were interested in the Pro, but you decided I'm not going to get the Pro, it's not worth it, I'm going to get the vanilla. My point I'm trying to say is, why even bother with the vanilla? Why not just get the X? If you had the money for the Pro, why downgrade to the PlayStation Slim? Why not just get the X then? Why downgrade? Why keep buying? Pretty much, why are Slims still being bought in such high volume? When we already know the big console's coming out, the beast is coming. Why even bother with a Slim then at all? That's the point I'm trying to make. Right? Why go from Pro and then decide, I'm going to get me a Slim? Why not just go, the Pro's not good enough, I'm going to upgrade to a higher console, I'm going to get the X. Why downgrade to the vanilla? Because you're downgrading. Even if it's similar, even if it's not that difference, why even bother with PlayStation at all? Why even mess with it? Why is it still selling so much when the X has already been announced? Just go for the X. Don't bother with the PlayStation. You see what I'm saying? All right. But next thing, what was I at? Oh yeah, the base model. All right. Base model Xbox One. We saw from the last MPD, it is now a 5-figure selling console. All right. For people who don't understand, the Xbox One S, the base model, was not able to sell 100K or more. It's under 100K. Right. The big narrative for this November is Xbox now has the better version of the multiplats. All right. That's the big narrative, and multiplats rule. That's the big narrative. Xbox. And I'm not gonna say you guys are right or wrong. We're just gonna say, let's say you're right. All right. Let's say multiplats is the big deal. Here's my question to you. If that's what Xbox has running this November, right? Right? If that's what Xbox is running, if that's what people who believe that Xbox is going to win November because of the better version of multiplats, let me ask you this. How does that narrative apply to the consumer who have no plans on buying an Xbox One X? Because not everybody's going to buy a One X. People are not going to spend $500 on a console. They're not going to buy. There's going to be lots of people that's not going to buy the One X. There's going to be a lot. More people are going to buy the cheaper consoles, whether it's a Switch, a PS4 Slim, or the base model Xbox. Those consoles will sell more than the One X simply because of price. People are going to go for the cheaper product. So if Xbox advantage is better version of the multiplats, what does that have to do with the non-One X consumer? What do they get? How does super version of multiplats apply to a consumer that's not getting an Xbox One X? That narrative doesn't mean anything to them because the base model Xbox One, the Xbox One S, I don't know if you guys still remember, but that is still the one with the worst version of multiplats. So anybody who goes out and wants to spend $300 on console gaming, there is no better version of the multiplats because that only applies to the One X. But if they're not going to go buy the One X, now the question is, what's going to make that consumer choose the base model Xbox over the base model PlayStation 4? What do you have to sell that to them? You can't use better version of the multiplats because the base Xbox One S doesn't have that. Doesn't have the better version of multiplats. But what's even more dangerous, and this is the key right here, you no longer have the best exclusives. Xbox this year, when it comes to exclusive titles, is having a very terrible year in 2017. It's pretty terrible. So what will make a person buy an Xbox One S? Game refunds and Game Pass aren't system sellers. Those things don't sell systems. You hardly see commercials on that. You hardly hear anything about it. Not saying that those services are not great. Those are great services to add on. Okay? And casual game, you're right. It's not about exclusives for the mass and casuals. You are true. But again, the best version of the multiplats is not on the One S. That only applies to people who are going to buy the One X. But for those who are not buying the One X, what do they got? What's going to pull them towards the One S? It isn't the multiplats, because that's on PS4. There's not big killer exclusives that's selling the One S this year. This year's been a terrible year for Xbox. That's number two. You don't have very good bundles compared to what the PlayStation has. You might say the best online, right? That could be a good selling point. But here's the thing. Xbox always had the best online going back to the OG Xbox. They always had it. Going back to 2002. Xbox always had the best online. You see what I'm saying? Xbox had the better online for the last 3 years. So that might not be a big selling point to overtake it. So what's selling the One S this year? What's going to sell the One S? And that's why Zaire, Next Gen, D, and a lot of other Xbox channels, they're missing the point. That's why you guys are missing the key. What is going to sell the One S? What is going to sell the base Xbox over the base PlayStation 4? What's gonna happen in November that people's gonna be like, hey, I'm not buying the One X because I'm not paying $500, but I'm still gonna get me an Xbox because of, you see? And that's the point. That's the point what I'm trying to make. All right. Now, let's say people were gonna bet. Let's say if the bet was which was gonna sell more, the One X or the Pro. I wouldn't take that bet. I'll be honest. I wouldn't take that bet because I think the One X is going to outsell the Pro. I think there's potential for that. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because those two consoles are for the high-end user, and I think more the high-end user are more pleased with what Microsoft's doing with the One X than what Sony did with the Pro. High-end users. Without the fanboy stuff, without, cutting out all the fanboys on each platform, I think an average, neutral, high-end gamer, tech analysis, are more pleased with what Microsoft is doing with the One X as compared to what Sony did with the Pro. I already see that. Right? I see that clearly. Right? So I wouldn't have taken that bet. That bet, I would not have taken that bet at all. In fact, I'm not even arguing that. I'm realistic. All right? But the argument was that Xbox is going to take November in its entirety. And I'm telling you, the average casual is not going to buy the One X. They're not going to pay $500 for a console when they could pay $200 for a console. So that's what they're going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for those $200 consoles. So that's going to be between the base model Xbox One, the One S, versus the base model PlayStation 4. And between those two, what has Microsoft done to make the One S appealing? This is why the One S is selling low all year long. All year long. And the One X will not be able to make up the difference. It's not going to sell that much to overtake the lack of One S sales. Okay? That's just the bottom line. Right? Number 4, my final point. PlayStation's having its best year ever in popularity. That's a huge factor. The popularity of the console. A lot of gamers buy where their friends are at. Or what's the most popular console out there? PlayStation by far is the most popular. I'm not saying it's the best, and I'm not saying it should be your preferred. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just telling you, it's the most popular console out now. PlayStation 4 is pretty much the PlayStation 2 of this generation. Then you add that the most popular console is being bundled with Call of Duty, Destiny, and Star Wars. It's just going to attract all the casuals. That's it. That's what this whole deal is about. This is why I took the bet with Zaire, because it's an easy game I'm going to get from him. It's an easy game. It's an easy $60 that I'm going to get. That's it. This doesn't mean that I'm saying that Xbox One X is trash. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think people confuse with me saying PlayStation is going to win November with the Xbox One X is trash. I'm not those dudes. Now, other dudes like Alex, he's going to talk his trash and say Xbox One X sucks. I'm not that dude. I'm not talking about the quality of the console. In fact, I'm the one of few people that are saying you're going to get the best version of multiplats. All right? Now, for me, I know some people be like, you need to get the X. Listen, I don't even have the Pro. I don't care about power. I don't care. I don't care about power. I don't. The console I'm going to get for November is the base model Xbox One. That's it. I'm not getting an X. I'm getting an S. I don't care about power. I don't have issues with not being able to play the very best version of games. I never did. As long as the game feels good and the console that was made is up to par with the current generation, I'm good. I'm happy with the graphics the vanilla PS4 has, and I'm happy with the graphics the One S pushes out. That's it. Instead of me paying $500 for a One X, that same $500 I can buy a $200 Slim, Xbox One Slim, and then the rest of the $300 that's left over, I can pay for Xbox Live and get a couple of games on the Slim and even a couple of games on the PlayStation. All right? You see the difference? You see how far I can go with $500? With $500, if I go buy the X, I'm actually have to pay $600 to $700 because I have no games on the Xbox One. So I have to buy the Xbox One X, buy a controller, get Xbox Live, and then buy games. That's going to run me a good $700 to $800 to do all that. Or I could just take that $500 and do all that, plus get games on 2 platforms. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about graphics. And I'm going to tell you, come November, you're going to see, most people don't care about graphics either. You're going to see, come November, after, well, it's going to be December, because that's when the numbers reveal, you're going to see how it's not about the graphics or the best version multiplats. Y'all going to see that firsthand. So the narrative after December is no longer going to be, it's all about the best version multiplats, because you guys are going to be shocked that the PlayStation beats out Xbox. And I will say this, chances are, I have a feeling Nintendo might even be the overall winner overall. It could be Nintendo being the #1 selling console in November. The weakest console or the weakest unit might be the most sold unit overall, which really shows the narrative that it isn't about the best version of multiplats. That's what's going to be interesting. That's really going to be interesting. Like, if people were to tell me, hey, take a bet between Nintendo and PlayStation, I would not take that bet. I'd be like, hell no. You know, because I have a feeling Nintendo could win November MPD also. That could be the most sold item this November, because people are looking at the Switch as a handheld, and handhelds sell a lot. Handheld sells a ton during the holidays. It's crazy how much handhelds sell, you know? And then you take that handheld and double it up with Mario, man, that's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be crazy, you know? So that's why it wouldn't put past me that Nintendo wins November. It's just crazy, you know? And then if Nintendo does some crazy stuff as drop the price of the Switch, or at the very least during November do special deals where you can get a Switch for $250 temporarily, you know, a temporary price drop, a Switch for $250. Oh man, that's woo. So I'll be honest, don't sleep on Nintendo with the Switch. I'm telling you, don't sleep on that console. Everybody's sleeping on that console. It's selling a ton. You know, one of the main things that might hold back the Switch is putting enough in inventory. If Nintendo could push out a ton of Switches throughout the world, it could be the #1 selling platform worldwide. You know what I'm saying? So I don't put it past Nintendo winning November at all, overall, and being the #1 selling unit overall. Believe me, it could happen. You know? Here's the thing. I understand the last 3 years, a big portion of the PlayStation 3 was the power. I got that. I'm not oblivious. You know, I'm not pretending that didn't happen. I'm not one of those dudes. I clearly saw what happened. In the media, conversation, Digital Foundry, Twitter talks. I got that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an idiot. You know, and I'm not a fanboy to admit that a narrative of power wasn't there. It was there, all right? But what people don't understand that there was other factors that led to that. The main factor is price. Right? People doesn't have an issue with a more powerful product being more expensive than a weaker product. That's actually pretty normal. It's pretty normal that one console that's more powerful is $100 more than the weaker console. That's actually a normal thing. That's like, okay, we get that. What people did not like was the fact that the weaker console was $100 more expensive. And it was because of a camera that was poorly supported and people didn't want. All right? That's number one. Number two, Xbox One had a pretty terrible unveiling. Microsoft, Don Matrick did a terrible job with how he presented the Xbox One. He had a terrible console unveiling in May, which he barely talked about games. That wasn't well received. The $500 price tag, and then talks of DRM. There was just a lot of stuff Don Matrick did. Right? And again, this is a shot at Don Matrick. This is me complaining about Don Matrick and why he did to the brand. It's not the brand itself, it's what he did. So all those missteps gave Xbox One a bad image. And people love to talk about bad images. You saw that in media, just a constant assault on Xbox because of the bad image that was presented. It was just a constant assault over and over and over and over. And then it's $500, right? So Sony took advantage of a couple of things with Microsoft missteps, right? Number one, some 360 owners were not happy with Xbox One and how it was presented. So they decided to go with PS4. What helped with that transition from 360 to PlayStation 4 was actually also helped by Microsoft. Microsoft assisted with that transition. Number one, Microsoft did not launch backwards compatibility with the Xbox One. That was an initiative Phil Spencer provided later on. It didn't launch with backwards compatibility. So right from the start, there was no incentive for 360 owners to go to Xbox One and carry their library. That would have helped Xbox 360 owners to move on to Xbox One. There was no backwards compatibility. So since Xbox One couldn't play 360 games, it didn't really mean much. It was pretty much starting over at that time before Phil Spencer came on board. All right, that's number one. Number two, Microsoft had exclusives, right? You had Rise, you had Sunset Overdrive, all right? But the question is, were those games enough to sell a $500 console that had a bad reputation? That's the thing you guys ain't talking about, right? Sony, and some of you guys, obviously a lot of people criticize all Sony had was like things like Infamous, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted Collection. But I want you to think about, let's focus on The Last of Us Remastered and Uncharted Collection. Let's focus on that. Who do you think which fan base do you think those games attracted the most? Think about that. Uncharted Collection and The Last of Us Remastered. Because those games sold a lot on the PS4. Those remasters sold a lot, and some people look at it as, well, yeah, it sold a lot because PlayStation had nothing else. But what people don't consider is there's a lot of 360 owners that did not own a PlayStation 3. So they never got to play Uncharted, and they never got to play The Last of Us. And those were some of the biggest games during that generation. But 360 owners that were 360 only owners did not play them. They never got the chance to experience them. So now a new generation of gaming comes on. The Xbox One is $500, has a bad reputation, does not have backwards compatibility, or you could get a PlayStation for $400, $100 cheaper, and you can play The Last of Us Remastered and Uncharted Collection and catch up to games you never got, right? What made the situation worse, you had a few games that were system sellers, but for some reason Microsoft made it, or the games also came out on the 360. For example, Forza Horizon 2, a very popular. Some people like Forza Horizon more than the actual sim. It was also on 360. And then you had Titanfall, a big killer app, but that game was also on 360. So some of these 360 gamers, they had no incentive to buy an Xbox One for Titanfall or Forza Horizon 2. They can still play those games and buy a PlayStation 4 and be able to play Uncharted Collection and The Last of Us Remastered. Games that they didn't have the ability to play before because they didn't buy a PS3. And they're not going to buy a PS3 now. They're not going to buy a PS3 in 2013. That doesn't make sense. So they still got to play Forza. They still got to play Titanfall. And now they're playing Uncharted Collection and The Last of Us Remastered. And they got to save $100. So it's a whirlwind of just bad stuff. You know, a perfect storm that just led to this. Sony took advantage with the power. Now, some people are saying that because Sony pushed power so much, now they put themselves back in the corner. Now that the One X, I'm going to say not really. Because again, not everybody, in fact, I'm going to say the majority are not going to buy the One X. The One X will be specifically for the high-end gamers, the hardcore gamers, and the tech enthusiasts. Remember, these consoles do not replace the base model consoles. They're not the replacement. They're just specifically there for a high-end user experience. It's going to be the average selling console. The average selling console is still going to be the base models. The base models will sell more than the premium models by a lot. So Sony has no issue of seeing PS4 Slims being sold less. That's not going to happen. Most people are just still going to go for that. It's the cheaper console. It's $200. Everybody's going like that. Microsoft's issue is they have to get back in the game to make the Xbox One S appealing. It can't be all about the One X. You need the One S to be an appealing console. You still have to talk about it. You know, think about it. Some of you, I'm the expert. Think about this. Look at the Xbox Pro channels, right? Xbox Pro channels, right? Every multi-plat that they talk about now is going to play better on X. It's going to play better on X. The best version, play better on X. Let me ask you this. If you had an Xbox subscriber or an Xbox follower, and they have no plans on buying the One X, or they have plans to buy the One S because they don't have $500 or they're not going to spend $500, how do those comments of multi-plats are now going to be better on X apply to them? What do they get out of the deal? What do the current Xbox owners who are not getting the One X or future consumers that are not going to buy the One X, what do they get out of listening to podcasts or reading tweets and all they see is Xbox now has the best versions when it doesn't apply to them? My man Furious for One says Xbox One has mass appeal. Oh, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn this December, Furious One. You probably won't even show up on my comment section no more. That's gonna be my prediction. After you see the results in November and December this holiday season, where the majority of people who bought consoles are the low-end base models, that's when you're gonna see majority of the gamers are not One X gamers. You're gonna see that, you know. But we're just gonna wait till that time. But let me ask you this again: a One X gamer, an Xbox gamer who did not get the One X, what do they get out of hearing conversations? Multi-plats bets on X. They get nothing out of it. Nothing at all, right? This is why Sony has the narrative and pushing the narrative about the games. Because that's a topic that goes across all platforms. It's a topic that the original PS4 vanilla gamers can partake in. It's a topic the Slim owners can understand. And it's a topic the Pro owners can understand. Every owner of a PlayStation console understands games, and they can all share in that comment. So when they see a PlayStation podcast or PlayStation news, something, and it talks about games, they all can relate. But when Microsoft execs tweet, makes commercials about the power and the best versions and the best place to play is on Xbox, Xbox One S owners and the base model vanilla owners, they can't relate to those conversations. It doesn't apply to them because they don't have the console to meet that expectation. They don't have it. So what do? If a person's going to go out and buy a console for $300 and they see these tweets from everybody, play Xbox podcasts, you know, Xbox content creators, Xbox executives, Xbox advertisements, and they all talk the best place to play is on Xbox because of true power, how does that apply to someone who's going to go in the store to Walmart or to Best Buy with $300 or $350 to buy a console? What do they get out of it? How does best power apply to them? They don't get anything out of it. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Microsoft as a company is completely forgetting about the segment that's not going to get a One X. They completely forgot about them. You, at the very least, will be able to talk about games that they can enjoy, but the few games that is coming out, again, the narrative is Xbox One enhancements, 4K textures, everything. Everything's based around the One X. They're not attempting to sell the One S in any way, shape, or fashion. Xbox YouTubers are not talking about the One X in any shape, form, or fashion. They're leaving out a huge segment of the Xbox fan base because power doesn't apply to them. And that's a dangerous proposition. That's hugely dangerous. If you think the One X at $500 is going to be the main selling console out of all the platforms, well, you're going to learn this December. Y'all going to see it firsthand. Right? You're going to see it this December. This December, you're going to learn. Right? Now, outside of that, for those of you that do buy the One X, you're going to have an amazing experience. I don't doubt that at all. Right? In fact, this is going to bring up to my last point. So there was a writer from The Verge. He made a tweet saying he can't see the difference. Like he played Forza 7 and that he couldn't tell the difference between the 4K 61 and the 1080p 61. That's what he said. And I'm going to be real on that one. That's a stupid comment. He needs to stop. That's I'm sorry. I know he played it and that's his opinion, but not enough. Come on now. Like, just stop. Let's not do this. I'm gonna be real. This is my devil's advocate. Defend Microsoft. Defend Xbox. Let's not do this. And I'm gonna tell you why that comment is messed up. I'm gonna be real. Nobody said that with PC. See, 4K gaming is not a new thing. PC's been doing 4K gaming for a while now. All right. So we all know PC gamers have been playing 4K. Never once have I heard a PC gamer say they couldn't tell the difference between 4K gaming on PC with 1080p gaming on PC. Never once. I never heard that. I'll be honest. I'll be on the real. In fact, I'm going to make a separate video on this one, maybe. But that's just my point. So that's just crazy that now all of a sudden we can't tell the difference between 4K 60 versus 1080p 60. That's, no. Nah, I'm not buying that. That's garbage. They need to stop that. That's just, I don't know. That's just crazy. When I read that tweet, I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? That's like, that's a garbage opinion. Because we never heard that before on PC. No one, I have yet to hear a PC gamer or a PC editor or reviewer ever say 4K 60 on PC looks the same as 1080p 60 on PC. Not once. But now 4K 60 on a console looks the same as 1080p on a console. Nah, I'm not buying that. In fact, I'm gonna make that's a video for another time. So you got a little taste. But anyway, I think I did long enough. I think it's time to play some games. It's Saturday, it's rainy, but I'm gonna enjoy some time gaming. All you subscribers, everybody who's listening, thank you so much for listening. Hit the like button, retweet, subscribe, and I'll be doing another video soon, especially talking about the whole 4K looks the same as 1080p. I might have to say that's a garbage. So stay tuned for that one. That's a garbage point. But anyway, this is your boy Puerto'S 77, and I'm out. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you soon. All right. Hey, enjoy your weekend, and once again, prayers for Houston. All right, prayers for Texas. All right, you're in my thoughts. All right, take care, people. Enjoy your gaming. Enjoy your great weekend. Peace.